Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's Wednesday, midweek Wednesday. Hope you're having a great week so far. A couple things to talk about. I want to start off with a small semi-rant. I know we haven't had one of those in a while, and this one has to do with my license as an amateur radio operator. I've been an amateur radio operator, a ham radio operator for, I don't know, 35 years or something, a long time since I'm a young man. And when you get your license, you have to renew it every 10 years. And it should be a lifetime license, but they go through the thing. Every 10 years, you got to renew it. And there's a fee involved, $35 this time to renew it. And so now it's done online. It used to be you send in a form or whatever, but now it's done online. So that annoys me to begin with, because now it's like you have to own a computer. Suppose you don't want a computer. Suppose you don't have a computer. It has nothing to do with amateur radio whatsoever. Why do I need to own a computer? But that's the way it is. They want to streamline it or whatever. So I get I go online, and now if you've ever done the motor vehicle to renew your registration or license or something, you go to motor vehicle website, bing, bang, boom, you're done. You pay your fee, and a couple days later you get your license. And it's nice. It's a nice way to do business. I understand, because you know what it's like to go down to the DMV, especially if you live in a big city. That's one thing you younger people, thank God that you never had to experience, is waiting in line in the Jamaica Department of Motor Vehicles, Jamaica, New York, and it was like being in Rikers for a couple hours. It was the worst possible experience, the most belligerent people working there. It was unbelievable. So for those of you that have lived in this area, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, the website on the FCC website to renew your license, it is the least intuitive website I've ever been on. It is just the most hardest to navigate through. So many different screens, filling out this, filling out forms. Every time you do, you hit submit, it says error, go back. And it took me 2 hours. It took me longer to renew my license than it did to actually get my license in the first place. I was so upset with it. And then they got the nerve, after going through all this and trying to get to the payment screen and whatever, it was just a nightmare. I call up, they have a help number. I'm so livid now. I call up the help number and say, listen, your website's the worst. If you could please put me on the phone with the guy that designed this website, because I would like to berate him in person. Guy's like, yeah, I'm sorry. So I said, can you help me out with this? And so he says, yeah, but I don't really know how to do it. He didn't even know. The guy that worked there had no idea how to navigate through the website. So anyway, I figured it out. After a couple hours, I was able to go and pay for it. And then they tell me, they say, well, here's your license will be able to download. You got to go to another screen, another part of this crazy website, and download your license, and you can print it out. So now I don't own a printer. I have a disdain for printers. I owned 4 of them in my life. Remember, I've been around for a while. And every one of them, because I don't print out a lot of things, I'm not one of those guys that print something every month. I print 2 pages a year, if that much. And if you don't use a printer, they have a way of breaking or clogging up, or the ink is crazy. And so after throwing away my 4th printer, I said, I'm never going to buy another printer. I used to go to Staples to get something printed out, but they closed the Staples around here. So anyway, it's a real pain in the neck, right? So I wrote a letter to the commissioner of the FCC, and I probably should have waited a while. Whenever you're angry, it's a good idea to wait a little while before you write a nasty letter. I unloaded. I told them how bad their website was, and I also said, I'm paying $35 for a license that you can't even send me an envelope, a hard copy of, that I got to go out and buy a printer. If bad enough I have to have a computer. I went off. So that's my rant for today. Everything today, they increase the money. Everything's more and more expensive. And they want you to print out, just like when you go shopping now. It's bad enough everything's going so expensive. Now they want me to check out my own groceries. They don't even have a person checking it out. They want me to do all the work, bag it myself. What's next? Do I stock the shelves? Do not get me started. Okay, I feel a little better now. It's always good to get things off your chest, isn't it? Anyway, let's get started with some project real quick. Okay, so I'm moving stuff upstairs because I got to make room. I got the burner cleaning coming this week. It's going to be a rough week, and we did these a couple of weeks ago. We had to make this rivet, and I picked this up and I was playing with it, and I was like, boy, what a beautiful pair of pliers. And I said, now I got the urge. I got to do a pair of pliers. If I don't do a pair of pliers once a month, I get like withdrawal symptoms. So let me see what we got. Okay, so I got these pliers from the 50-cent table, or so. I know, you know, these aren't great pliers. You see the space between the cutters here, so you know it's not going to be able to cut anything substantial, or especially stranded wire or something. So, you know, these are considered, remember, they're a consumable tool. That means that when the jaws get worn out, or the cutters, you're supposed to toss them away and buy a new one. That's how the company stays in business. And except if you have a pair of Never Slip, you know, the ones that had the replaceable jaws, but they went out of business just because nobody liked them. So anyway, this is a great pair. I think it's a pair of Utica, but I can't really see. So what do you say we look? Remember the tape? We always see this tape on here. That's like old school. When you were a kid, you wrap it up. What do you say we make this into a custom pair of pliers? Because, well, I'll show you as we're going along. Let's take the tape off and wire brush and see what we got on. Post-wire brush evaluation, you can see it is indeed a Utica. You can see here, Utica, the 3 diamonds. See that? But everything else is either both pitted, and looks like somebody was knocking on it or whatever. So this is all gone. There's no lettering left there, but there is a U and an N like number and a UT over here. So that's it. That's really all you can see over there. When you're wire brushing, you got to get the joints good, because that's what you want to get. The rest we don't bother with, because we're going to be hitting it with the flap sander. And you could see here, you could see the residual lines from the tape. The tape is gone. That's just the glue that's left on there. So we'll take that off. Remember, we want to customize this, make this. I would like to take these on a walk or something, and I like these style, and they are surprisingly tight. So, I mean, they're not loose. So we're going to do inside here with the Dremel, and then we will take it to the flap sander. Now, the objective of this project is to narrow the tip down, and then also get rid of a lot of these squared off facets, make it a very user-friendly pair of pliers. This is why I stress you cannot stop once you start. You have to go all the way. This is all the way. We took it all the way down, got rid of every one of the pits. But if you stop when it looks like this, it's going to be a horrible day. We're going nice and slow so that we don't overheat the steel and retemper it. We're getting down to the point where we're bringing that tip down. We're making a nice contour. Want this to look like a custom made or a prototype, something that I just enjoy doing down here and working on it little by little, taking the edges down till it's comfortable. Okay, we finished the grind. We're going to take, maybe we'll hit it with a little polish, but we just did it with the fiber wheel and went through the belts, and you could see the shape we got. That's the shape I wanted. A lot of times I need a strong needle nose that I could twist, and you know you can't do that with regular needle nose, and this is just what the doctor ordered, these, you know. Let me blue the handles here. We still have Utica written on the inside of the handles, but we had to lose it here because of the pitting. But I like it, so let's blue the handles now. Now, you know my favorite part. Remember what these Utica pliers look like before we started. And we're calling this project done. This is exactly what I was hoping to do. Get a nice profile on here that's very unusual, but it's very streamlined. It's smooth. It's beautiful. I mean, this is smooth to the touch. And remember what I was telling you. that whenever you take off a little bit of here, you're going to create sharp edges. So you have to take some, what I do is I take some small sandpaper and go on the edges here, and I can't have any sharp edges. If this goes into your pocket or a leather holster or something, you don't want anything ripping it up. So all the edges, the bluing on the handles came out nice. You can see here, I highlighted the Utica. You see the Utica insignia on both handles. Okay, so it does say Utica, but we had to lose it on the top because of the pitting, but just a lovely profile, nice and even. I like these pliers. And listen, now the cutters, like I said, the cutters are trashed, but there's always a spot in the cutters you could find. Now on this one, it's all the way down at the bottom. So here, I could take it like here's a piece of hanger, and at the very bottom, you could see it's still got a sharp. So if you had to cut something, you just go all the way to the bottom. Or if you had to cut something bigger, you can go on top and it'll give you. But again, I'm not using this more as a cutters. It's a general purpose carry pliers. Just something to practice, something to get some different profiles with. I like it. Very interesting. I'm going to have a little bit of oil coming up through the rivet for a while. You know how that works. Okay, next up, bonus, real quick. You know, my favorite tools in the shop, besides the dake and the lathe and all the other ones, I have to say this, every time I use these old whisks, these were trash. They were all rusty. I reground them, cut the front off, made these so that you could run with these scissors, which is a nice feature. And they're just the most beautiful scissors. You know how hard it would be to cut something like this, right? Or like this sock here. But look at this, how this cuts through. You know, just like unbelievable. You can cut crazy heavy stuff with this. I love shorter scissors because you get the leverage. Same with here. Now, these are like tin snips by Pexto. Did these up real quick. Again, these are nice scissors. You can really get good leverage and cut ropes, all kinds of stuff. But I happen to be at the 50-cent table at one of the, and I picked up these. And you know what this is here? Can you see this? These are a pair of Compton U-set. You can see here, Compton U-set. And what they are is they're utility shears. And the reason they call these utility shears is because you see the one side has this serrated edge on here. And that's so that when you try and cut things, that it doesn't kind of want to push out and squeeze out. It kind of grabs it a little bit. They're great shop scissors. Again, they got the leverage point is real close to the cutters with the handles back here. And I wanted to just clean these up because I'm going to be using them, so I'm not doing it over the top. Let me show you how nice these clean up and how great they cut. Okay, you can see we have the typical rust when you take it apart. Now, it's really important here. Remember I was telling you about these? All scissor edges have a slight concave in here. Okay, so it's not straight across. You don't put that on the belt sander and straighten it out. Remember, when these two halves come apart, you just want the top edge touching. You don't want it dragging across the whole inside. So keep that in mind. And remember, they only close to something like this. So this over here is just, you don't have to worry about this, but the edge is real important. Here's our post wire brush. We don't want to do anything. This black paint, they always put in it, they dip it in the handle. It's the worst paint. You know, take it all off if you can. With the wire brush, it comes right off. It's if you want to repaint it, you got to get rid of that old paint because they really don't do a good job in prepping it. You're going to have to clean this, prep it good scrub it down with an abrasive cleaner, and then spray it or whatever you want to do. But don't spray over that black paint because it's just, you can always just knock it off with your thumbnail. They chrome plated or something at the top. There's some kind of plating on here. So we're just going to hit that with the fiber wheel real quick and get rid of some of the staining. And then I'll show you how to just touch up the sharpness. Now, real quick, when you want to touch up the edge over here, if it's really dinged up and dented up, you can, put it, what you have to do is you have to duplicate the bevel that's on here. And you have to look at the side, and the bevel goes over here. And the sharpness, the cut, is where this edge, which you don't touch here, this is flat, where that bevel meets the edge, you're going to have a sharp edge there. And to get that, I take an old piece of, when my belts break on the belt sander, wrap it around something flat like an ice cream stick, and then just get this perfectly on the bevel. And you have to use the light, because as you're going back and forth, you start off on this edge here, the outer edge, and work your way back until you get the whole thing nice and shiny. And you just work it back and forth like this. You're not taking off any metal, really. You're just getting rid of any grime and stuff. But you see we're heavy on this edge. We have to work our way back a little bit, and just work it back until you get that to the whole edge on there is nice and shiny and the same exact bevel as it was before. And you should feel a little bit of sharpness here. And that's what's going to do you the cut. So you work on that back and forth until you get that nice and smooth, and so it cuts nice and easy. Okay, here we go. Now this is a very fine sanding grit, you know, like a 400. So you don't have to worry about taking any metal. But you see how we put a nice shine on that bevel there? And that's good to go. Okay, here we go. Now you can see here, we cleaned it up. It's nice. Now, before you do any painting or anything, you put it together just to test it out, okay? You want to make sure, because once you paint this, you don't want to be handling it and stuff, trying to sharpen. So we have it together temporarily. The easiest thing to cut is like a cardstock or something. And you can see it just zips through there, nice and easy. A little bit more difficult something to cut would be something like a paper towel or a tissue, because that tends to fold under. So you could see here, this cuts it again beautifully right through. And material. Now again, this, because of this little serration here, you see how it cuts, it'll grab that material and cut it right through. That's tough to cut through with a regular scissor. You'll see sometimes people are sitting there and going back and forth, but with a nice pair of short throw scissors, you can really, these are beautiful. You'll love them. Get a pair of these for your shop. You will not be sorry. Let's see what color we're going to choose. Now, you know my favorite part. Remember what these Compton scissors look like before we started. And we're calling this project done. These are the W.H. Compton dental and florist snips. These here, they date back to, well, I got catalogs from 1929, but the company goes back to, I think, 1899. Very high quality shears were made by Compton in New Jersey, back in a time when shears were really an important tool for many people. You see, we did these in a navy blue, a dark navy blue. Oven baked it for 24 hours. This is a very durable coating now. Just a beautiful finish on there. I don't usually do navy blues too much, but I felt like it on this one. A little bit of lithium grease in between the joint there, and it's just a beautiful pair of shears. These things cut so nicely. They work so well. And they're just, that serrated edge really helps to grip things that you're cutting. Beautiful pair of shears. They were good company, and you can find them. They're still available. So this one's in the can. Okay, so in closing, that was a fun 2 little projects that we finished up, and I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you have a great rest of the week. We'll see you again on Friday. Take care now. Bye-bye.